Good morning, I'm Rowena Crosby.
And I'm Deborah Renner, and we're your co-hosts for this show. Thank you for joining us for the next 17 minutes for your Invisible Toolbox. The show sponsored by Tero International that features the book Row and I co-authored, and every week we look at a tool for working more effectively with others.
And most weeks we come to you from the Tero studio, but today you can see that's not where we are. We are at my home at the beautiful Lake of the Ozarks, where we've come with the Tero leadership team to do a strategic planning retreat, something we do every year. And this is an opportunity for us to take a look at strategy for the business, what are the goals, and how do those apply to everyone in the company.
And according to a Forbes article titled 4 Critical Areas for a Successful Company Retreat by Brandon Dempsey, we know that a team that's unified is really unstoppable, but unifying a team means setting aside time without personal agendas to get larger goals accomplished. That's what we're doing here, and that's what we're going to talk about you might consider doing.
So what does Dempsey say a team can hope to accomplish by taking some time away? Strategic plans. And we're getting a little background noise here from the boats, so you really can see that we are on a retreat. As a leadership team, we set the strategic direction for the company, we set the priorities, we set the initiatives, and then it's our responsibility to communicate that to everyone in the organization so we can all be on the same page.
Well, he says gaining buy-in for the strategic priorities actually allows companies to gain traction. And that is so true, because if the priorities aren't shared by everyone, people are going to make their own priorities, and that's not going to be helpful for traction and accomplishing the goals.
So here's a quote from the author. He says, "At my company, we joke that we put the cult back in culture." That's kind of clever. He also says we take the time to celebrate our wins, strategize on our losses, and decide on our upcoming purpose and focus. And that's the purpose of our time here together at the lake.
It is, and so today we're going to actually also on the show do what we're doing here at the lake. We're going to take a look at how to strategize. For our Invisible Tool, we're going to be focusing on a whole section of our book, Your Invisible Toolbox. We're going to look at part 5. That's the tools for personal effectiveness, and this section has a myriad of tools, but it's going to be fun because we're going to invite Ann Block, who is our VP of Client Relations, and Kyle Plummer, who's usually behind the camera, in to share their particular tool from that part of the book, and we're going to share ours as well. We hope they resonate with you.
Absolutely. And for our development challenge, we're excited to introduce to you a new tool that's a companion to the book. Stick with us for that segment because you've got a chance to get a complimentary copy of this tool.
That's going to be fun to give away.
That is very fun. We're going to give it away.
If you're watching today and you're hard at work at your desk, we have a special segment for you in our final thoughts. We're going to bring to you a bit of the natural beauty that we're surrounded with, and we're going to actually invite you to take just a few moments away. It doesn't have to be a formal retreat that we get away to in order to strategize, but actually we need to do that personally, and that's taking a little time for reflection each day. And so we're going to do that as well, encourage you to do that, and let's get started with it.
So what are the benefits of a team retreat? Well, we've been doing annual retreats both for our leadership team and for our training team for many, many years. And when they're done well, there's a lot of benefits. It opens up a dialogue between people, especially that may not get to talk all the time to one another at work. It sets goals. We can strengthen employees' relationships to the company. It takes us all away from the day-to-day stressful environments that we operate in, gives us time to reflect on work, and actually can improve morale and engagement.
It does, but to get those benefits, there has to be some pre-planning. We have to be clear ahead of time on what we're trying to accomplish before we get to the location or to the time of the retreat, because some people can mistake it for a vacation rather than a very important work session. And have discussions to get team feedback. But you can have discussions off-site many times at a retreat that you just don't get the chance to have in the office or in your environment. And plan activities, but put some creativity into them.
And Forbes suggests incorporating these 4 things into your retreat. The first, of course, and we're all advocates of this, is have a learning component.
Yeah.
Second of all, sharing. Third, bonding, so that team bonding experience. And fourth, unifying, making sure everybody leaves on exactly the same page.
So today, some tools you can use either for a strategic retreat with your team or a personal retreat where you just do some reflection are found in our book, Your Invisible Toolbox. We're going to take a look and feature a certain part of that book that we think is useful for this, and we hope you will too.
And it is time for your invisible tool of the week. And this week, as Deb said, we're not just going to present to you one tool, we're going to present four. And to do that, Deb and I are going to be joined by Ann Block, Tero's Vice President of Client Relations. And we're also going to be joined by Kyle Plummer. Kyle is our Director of Marketing. Typically, he's behind the camera, but today he's going to join us on this side of the camera.
So today we're going to discuss some tools from this particular section of the book, part 5 of the book, and these are tools that really help us when we do personal reflection and at a team retreat. So we're going to start with Kyle. Kyle, will you share with us the one that resonated with you?
Yeah, the one that resonated with me was chapter, I believe, 89, and the tool was Take the Time It Takes. And I just think in a world where we have all this technology and businesses have to move faster to keep up with the pace of it, and everyone's running around and we're just trying to keep up with things and not fall behind, that you end up making a lot of mistakes along the way. And someone like myself, I'm not naturally detail oriented, and so just taking that extra time, whether it's proofreading something or doing a little bit extra research or spending more time with someone to teach them something, it just kind of cuts back on some of the mistakes. Whether it's a small mistake or a big mistake, it's a mistake, and it'll eventually cost you more time than it would take to, do your due diligence. So that just really resonated with me, and something that I've been working on over the past few years here.
That's a terrific one.
It is. And you shared an analogy last night on a tool that was in this part of the book. Can you share that with our viewers?
Oh, thanks, Deb. Absolutely. Well, my favorite chapter in that section was chapter 87, and the title is There's Always More to the Story. And it was about a boy named David that was embarrassed to be around his mom because of her scars on her face. And as he grew up and got a little older, he realized in reading her journal that those scars were from saving his life from a house fire. So it was really impactful. And the story we talked about last night was the recent situation I had where I was on vacation and had lots of extra time on the plane. So I watched the I, Tanya story, and if we think back of December of 1993, what a scandal that was with Nancy Kerrigan and Tanya Harding, and how we all looked at Tanya Harding as someone who was the victor, as the attacker, and in reality she didn't really even know that that was taking place, and her entire life was really very sad. So we all have those situations with people we know, and it might be a friend that's gone through a divorce and we think that it's really awful with one spouse or the other, and the more that we learn about the story, we really find out that it really wasn't as we originally thought. So not to be so quick to make judgments.
Yes, that's a good one.
Ro, I know this part of the book is important to you as a co-author of the book, but which part of it resonates with regards to people either with personal reflection or retreats?
And I had no trouble even picking the chapter on this one, because the chapter I love in this section is 93. It's called What Makes You Tick? And the tool itself is to pursue self-knowledge. And that takes us beyond self-awareness of just knowing things about ourselves and understanding the why behind it. The reason I love that chapter is the training we do around that chapter is really the Myers-Briggs type indicator. And one of the things I learned years ago when we were looking at personality assessments is that my personality is shared by 1.8% of the population, yet the first 5 individuals that joined the Tero team shared either my dominant function, thinking function, or my full personality type. You have to look hard to find these people. And I thought we had a high functioning team, and what I came to realize is that we had a team that was just the same in their thinking. So I am so grateful for the team that I am surrounded by here today, and our opportunity to be here at this beautiful retreat setting so that we can get that diversity of thought, because as I've learned more about my self-awareness and self-knowledge, I've come to appreciate what my shortcomings are and what the benefit of having diversity of thought is.
That's an important one for sure.
And how about you, Deb? What chapter did you pick?
I've got one that is a favorite. I went into the book and it's chapter 85, and it's actually called 86,400 each and every day. And it's not talking about dollars, it's actually talking about minutes. And no matter who we are, we each get the same amount of time every day. It's the equalizer, it's the great equalizer. And I want to read just a little from this chapter. It's one that really touches me when I reflect on things. It says, most of us spend our days putting out fires, allowing little time to proactively attend to issues that aren't yet at a crisis stage. And we seek relief by spending time in hours and time-wasting activities that may feel relaxing in the moment, but frustrate us later when we perceived we've wasted time. Should our main goal in life be getting as much possible done, or should it be getting the most important things done? And what are the most important things? And this really touches me because I think those important things change depending on where we are in our life, where we are in our career. And so reflecting on that often is just so vital. And so that one speaks to me. And the tool is to set goals. And that's what we've been talking about today.
It is.
That's so true.
So take some time to explore part 5 of the book, because when we recalibrate and we reflect on our progress, that really helps us reach our aspirations. And aspirations are just goals filled with hope. And that's what we want to aspire to. This should help us do that.
Well, it's time for our development challenge of the week. We're excited to present this to you. This is where we challenge you to challenge yourself, challenge some habits, and try something new. And today we're going to introduce to you the Invisible Toolbox card deck that is a companion piece to the book itself.
It is. We're so excited about this. It's finally finished and ready for production. And this has 100 different cards, each that correlate with the book. If you have the book, you're just going to love it. If you don't, you can actually use it singularly as well. But each tool, there's a reflection, there's a question, and there's a call to action. And you can pick one each day. Just take a look at it, reflect on it, and figure out how you can implement during your day that particular tool. A great way to work on interpersonal skills. We were just looking at one, and the tool was surprise someone with kindness. And that's what we're going to do today with regards to this. We're excited about it. And for our viewers today, we have a very special opportunity.
And we know if you're viewing this today, you're probably one of our very loyal viewers. And what we'd like to invite you to do is shoot us an email at ideas@yourinvisibletooolbox.com. In the subject line, put Invisible Toolbox card deck, and then in the body of the email, just tell us your mailing address. And if you send us that email today, we're going to send you a complimentary deck, which you can use for yourself for your own planning. Use it for your team. It actually retails for $14.95. So we hope that we can really honor our loyal viewers with this gift today.
And I love it. It's color coded, so you know which part
Which part of the book you're in. Yes.
Fantastic. Well, those of you who follow us on social media know we post relevant topics several times a day on interpersonal skills. And today we're going to feature 2 of the topics that we're featuring on our platforms this week. And the first one, it is an interview with one of our favorite researchers, Simon Sinek, and he's interviewed in terms of self-reflection and how he uses it to grow personally. This is a great TED Talk. It's going to be on all Tero's social media platforms today, so check that out.
And our second featured post is a wonderful Harvard Business Review article. I love the title of it. Strategic plans are less important than strategic planning. And that article gives you terrific insight into strategic planning, as well as the history around strategic planning that dates back into some military times. Yeah, it's really cool. You'll find a link to that article on all Tero social media platforms on Wednesday. Well, before we sign off today, we want to leave you with a poem by an author we really quote heavily in the book, Maya Angelou. And as we are reading this poem, you'll get to enjoy some of the sights and probably sounds of the beautiful Lake of the Ozarks.
So A Day Away by Maya Angelou. Every person needs to take a day away. A day in which one consciously separates the past from the future. Jobs, family, employers, and friends can exist one day without us. And if our egos permit us to confess, they could exist eternally in our absence. Each person deserves a day away in which no problems are confronted, no solutions searched for. Each of us needs to withdraw from the cares which will not withdraw from us. And we need hours of aimless wandering or spaces of time sitting on park benches, observing the mysterious world of ants and the canopy of treetops.
If we step away for a time, we are not, as many may think and some will accuse, being irresponsible. but rather we are preparing ourselves to more ably perform our duties and discharge our obligations. When I return home, I am always surprised to find some questions I sought to evade had been answered, and some entanglements I had hoped to flee had become unraveled in my absence. Thanks for joining us today. If you missed any portion of the program or you'd like to share it with others, you'll find the entire program on Tero's YouTube channel. Join us again next Monday morning at 9:03 Central Time, where we will examine another tool in your Invisible Toolbox.
And now it's your turn. We do welcome your feedback and suggestions for future shows. You can email your ideas to ideas@yourinvisibletooolbox.com. And if you are viewing today, go ahead and email us that information so that we can send to you one of these complimentary card decks for your Invisible Toolbox. And if you haven't subscribed to Tero's YouTube channel, subscribe today to be alerted as to when future shows are going to air. Thank you to Kyle for not only being on the show, but being our director and camera person as well. And thanks to Ann for joining us here at the lake.
And thanks to all of you for joining us, and we wish you great success with your retreats in your future. And that's a wrap.